Jim Burgundy, and this is the fastest news show in the world. Dateline Tiny Tusayan, Arizona, where everyone in town's all a Twitter about incorporation. Let's take an in-depth look. Yeah, let's take an in-depth look, and let's do it without fake newscasters dancing across their news sets. In fact, let's just kill the news set altogether. So, who is really behind incorporation? Well, frankly, it's the landowners. The landowners that don't live in Tusayan. I'm talking about the Halversons. They live in Washington State. And the Percassis, better known as the Italians, and we all know where Italians live. So why are they so interested in incorporating Tusayan? Does it have to do with getting housing for the people who work there? No. Does it have to do with building giant developments outside the gates of the Grand Canyon? Yeah. Consider this. There's no need to incorporate Tusayan to build housing. Let me say this again because it's so true. There's no need to incorporate Tusayan to build housing there. Take a look at these maps. These are the plots of land that are owned by the Percassi Group or Elling Halverson. They're all zoned for residential. That means they could virtually break ground tomorrow and build housing. What's the holdup? They'll tell you incorporation. But really? Do they need to dangle a carrot in front of people and tell them, we'll build you housing once you vote yes on incorporation? Why don't they just do it now?
Incorporation means more businesses, more choices, and that brings down prices.
The other bogus claim they'll throw at you is that once incorporation happens, that stores will flock to Tusayan, there'll be more competition and lower prices. Well, the truth is, once again, incorporation's not the holdup. I spent quite a bit of time talking with a spokesperson from Bashas' recently, and he told me that typically, when they go to build a store, they're looking for 10,000 people living within a 2-mile radius of that store. Now, he said rural areas are different, but they're always looking for that 10,000 person customer base. Let's be honest, there's not 10,000 people living within a 60-mile radius of Tusayan. So once again, it has nothing to do with incorporation. If you incorporate or not, big stores and big chains just aren't coming to Tusayan anytime soon. Now, you will get more stores if the Halversons and the Percassis get their way. You'll get outlet malls. That's what the Percassis build, outlet malls. So you'll have outlet malls and maybe a Ferrari shop like the one they opened in London. Now, look at this article from the Wall Street Journal. It was published not too long after the September 2008 incorporation election, an election where you said no thanks to incorporation. In this section, it discusses the aftermath of the Canyon Forest Village defeat in 2000 by Coconino County voters. I'm quoting here. Percassi doubled down and bought out its American partners, hoping to revive the project. We realize we made mistakes and we don't like to lose, said Federico Pelliccioli, who manages Percassi's U.S. property businesses. Percassi wooed businessman Elling Halverson. They hit upon a strategy to jumpstart development, create a city council with power over taxes, zoning, and services. A committee led by employees of Mr. Halverson, but funded by Percassi, collected signatures to get the incorporation issue on the ballot, and they crafted boundaries that included 354 acres of outlying Percassi-owned land. Percassi promised to donate 40 acres for subsidized housing, a long-standing bugbear in a locale few people own a house and many workers live in mobile homes. All right, now take a look at the pro-incorporation website and the homes they're talking about building here. They're mobile homes. Nice-looking mobile homes, but they're mobile homes. So how does that change anything in Tusayan? Mobile homes are typically parked on a lot that someone else owns. Now, look at this campaign finance report for this election. In it, you see the entire campaign, well over $280,000, is funded completely by the Percassis, herein known as Grand Canyon Exchange. Entirely funded by a foreign developer, and they have the gall to use the campaign slogan, "Because we live here"? Do they think you're stupid? Do they think you're buying any of this? And do another thing. Talk to anybody who's been promised housing, or anything else for that matter, by these people. You'll find a trail of broken promises after broken promises. But you're supposed to believe them this time around. And why do they keep attacking local residents? Well, I believe it's because they don't want to talk about these issues, or the issue of how to manage, pay for, and implement a brand new town government. Consider this. The policing that Tusayan receives from the sheriff's office right now, that you pay for with your Coconino County taxes, would cost $700,000 if the sheriff's department were to charge a town for it. That would be over and above what you're paying in county taxes right now. Plus, you have to hire a town manager and staff. All these new taxes would be plunked down on what will be the largest tax increase in Arizona's history, a tax that will be on the May ballot to help balance the state's budget. And while we're speaking of budgets, let's talk about those. The state has a massive deficit. Towns and cities across Arizona and the country have massive debt. Now, it would seem, is not the time to create another government when so many others are struggling. And the town, if created in a March election, would be forced to fully fund itself by July. How could Tusayan ever come up with that kind of money by July to run a town? The Halversons and the Percassis don't care. They just want to build. They want to build their tourist shops and their tourist attractions and homes for, well, frankly, people who want a second home or a place to retire in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So let's say that incorporation gets defeated again and the foreign and out-of-state developers don't get their way. What does Tusayan have to look forward to in their future? Let's get back to that Wall Street Journal article for the answer. The guy from the Percassi group that I quoted before says, quote, "Percassi has Plan B and Plan C. Mr. Percassi won't give up. It's a question of pride. We have the only private land in the area, and there's only one Grand Canyon." These guys will never give up. They're going to keep coming back time and again, and they'll make promise after promise. But remember, this time around, it has nothing to do with housing. It has everything to do with them making millions of dollars, all based on a lie.